Ahoy, ahoy, YouTube! JiminyCricket once again bringing you another deck profile today. This is for my most recent version of Necroface. We call this NecroMill, as you can tell by the Morphing Jar, Necroface, Card Destruction, 3 Needleworms, all that jazz. Even the Gravekeeper Servants at times, but we don't use it for that. So we'll jump right into the deck profile. Basically, we revolve around Angel of Zera. That is the main monster of our deck that we like to use, and we get him out by mainly controlling the field with DD Survivor, or at least defending it off, and then as I draw into Rose Warrior or Reinforcement of the Army, I can then tune with DD Survivor to make Angel of Zera, and then DD Survivor comes back at the end phase. Basically the idea to make Angel of Zera more playable, I suppose, would be after we get him on the field and we have Macrocosmos up, we like to play Soul Absorption. We like to play this as fast as we can with Macrocosmos because our life points get very fucking high in this deck, much like myself, you know. And you'll see that by looking at the other videos. You'll see that I can get to 50,000 life points. Most of the time I'm ranging around like 20,000, which is actually pretty remarkable because 8,000 seems pretty high to most people, but then once you get up to like, you know, the 20,000s, you're like, holy shit, this is awesome, you know, you're past double what you start with. So basically that's what I said. These are just here for Angel of Zera, and then the Needleworms will basically increase Angel of Zera's attack as long as Macrocosmos is up. If you hit it with Soul Absorption, you're gaining 2,500. If Necroface is removed, you're gaining 5,000 off of Soul Absorption. You know, this is just the key card of the deck is Absorption here, basically. I can't really say that. Macrocosmos is what makes that card work, so Macrocosmos is really the main point. We play 3 card cards and 3 Scarecrows, because they work with Macrocosmos face up on the field. A lot of people don't realize that they don't actually need to go to the graveyard. They just either, card needs to be just tributed, and then Scarecrow just has to be discarded, so they don't actually have to go to the graveyard to resolve. Once again, gaining life points off of Soul Absorption when I use their effect, so also good in that aspect. And then Morphing Jar is just Morphing Jar, you know. This can mean a lot of life points with Soul Absorption. This can mean coming back from, you know, this could be like the clutch card of the duel. And also, it's Morphing Jar. There's a reason why it's at 1. We play 2 Gold Sarks, so that way if we open a Gold Sark and a Soul Absorption, I can at least hit the Necroface and gain life points real fast. If not, I'll usually go for Macrocosmos or Gravekeeper Servant. And the reason why we play Gravekeeper Servant is not to mill our opponent's deck. That works because we play a mill deck, but when you have Macrocosmos face up on the field, they technically can't send a card from the top of their deck to the graveyard, because if you read Gravekeeper Servant, the card has to go to the graveyard. So because nothing can get sent to the graveyard, they literally cannot attack you with any monster they have as long as you have Gravekeeper Servant and Macrocosmos face up. So you have the ultimate wall of defense, and if they happen to get rid of your Macrocosmos or your Servant, you still have Scarecrows to back you up and a shit ton of life points off of Soul Absorption. Duality is basically here to hit the Macrocosmos faster. I really don't have a problem getting it very often in this deck because there's just so many different ways to speed through your deck and get to it. Duality is just there to hit anything else in the process. Soul Absorption, Gravekeeper Servant, Gold Sark, things along those lines, DD Survivor. One thing I will mention to the subscribers is if you are going to play Duality in the main, please take note that it's not a good idea to play Duality and then summon DD Survivor, because if DD Survivor happens to get removed, he's not going to come back during the end phase because you can't special summon for the turn. So Duality is kind of a timing card. You need to know what you're doing with it. Space Typhoon is pretty much just your staples. You know, there's a lot of things that I don't like to deal with, like Skill Drain and things along those lines. So MST is in the main. There's a third one in the side. Rhoda hits your Rose Warrior, hits your DD Survivor, too good not to run. And then, like I said, I get Macrocosmos fairly fast, so I only play 1 Dimensional Fissure just to hold me off until I draw the Cosmos. I don't like Fissure as much because, the main reason is just because it only removes monsters. So, you know, if my opponent has an Exceed monster and they detach a material, that actually gets sent to the graveyard, not removed from play, because that's the ruling on Dimensional Fissure. However, Macrocosmos doesn't dictate on what card goes to the graveyard. It's any card that goes to the graveyard. So if I have Cosmos up and they detach a material, that gets removed from play. However, though, again, if I have Dimensional Fissure up with, let's say, Gravekeeper's Servant, they can still attack me. And if a monster happens to get milled, then that gets removed. But it's much better to have this with a Macrocosmos rather than Dimensional Fissure. Card destruction is basically, again, like I said, we play the 3 Needleworms, the Necroface, the Morphing Jar, and then finally the card destruction just to, if we have Macrocosmos and Soul Absorption up, those are our power plays. That's how we gain the mass life points. Book of Moon is here for a little bit of control. That's really not what I use it for. It's more for the Needleworms and the Morphing Jars when my opponent can't attack me. So I have a little bit more setup with that. I gain a lot more life points. They lose their deck faster. 2 Bottomless in the main. That should be obvious. It's too good. This format, Bottomlesses should be in everybody's main if you can play it. And then on top of that, the fact that if I don't have a Macrocosmos up and I play this with Soul Absorption, I still gain 500, which is it's still a fucking perk. You know, it's nice to have. So the Torrential Tribute is really the powerhouse back row in this deck. It's so damn good when you have DD Survivor and Macrocosmos up and you Torrential your opponent. And then you gain life points in the process off of Soul Absorption, and then you gain life points off of the actual Torrential Tribute going to the graveyard. It's too nutty how much you can gain in this deck. And the Starlight Road, I had actually thought about maining 2 of these because Starlight Road has saved my ass every single fucking game against Heavy Storm. Like, as soon as they have Heavy Storm, I have Starlight down, and thankfully I've been lucky enough for that, but I'm not going to get that lucky every single game anymore, and I'm really considering maining 2. I can get into level 8s fast enough anyway. I don't like going into Stardust because of Macrocosmos being face up, but at the same time, I'd rather not lose all my back row to a Heavy Storm, and at the same time too, I can even negate my own Torrential if I really wanted to get a Stardust out and attack for game or something. I don't know. So that's basically the main. The extra I'm going to hover over real quick. You get your Mistworm just in case you somehow Monster Reborn a Veiler or some shit, you know. Just Swift. You can also summon Swift Scarecrow while you have Rose Warrior and DD Survivor in the off chance, which is very rare, but he's there just in case you can go into it. Angel of Zera, for those of you who don't know, I'm going to hover over it so you can pause and read it. He is the heart and soul of the extra deck and our main focus. The Starlight for the Starlight Road, Scrap Dragon because he's the shit, Red Dragon because he's 3000, Crimson Blader because in the off chance that my Macrocosmos isn't face up, I can still fuck up a lot of different decks in the format with its effect. It's a very underlooked card, underrated I'd say. You have your Gaia Knight, so you can Rose Warrior with your Needleworm or your card in the off chance that, card gets Veilered and he's stuck on the field, or you have Gravekeeper Servant up and they're not attacking you, so you need to get rid of the Needleworm. That's Gaia Knight's job. Catastor, just for the off chance that I have Scarecrow on the field with Rose Warrior, or I reborn a Veiler, something dumb like that. So, and then you have your basic staples. I consider these to be your basic 4 staples of rank 4 exceed monsters that should be in everybody's deck. And then we have 1 Gotchi for the Needleworm and the Morphing Jar, but I've been thinking about playing 2 of him. The side deck is kind of winged together. It's not really ready, I suppose. This is just like something I threw together so it could fill in the space for the video. You could, I would suggest making your own side deck, especially revolving it around your own locals and things like that. For me, this was just going to be very broad. Basically, whatever I can't take down with the main deck, I try and just burn them to death, and it's real fucking easy. As you can see here, the DD Dynamites will just destroy your opponent so fast, and then Magic Cylinders, Lava Golem on top of it. Mole is here for things like Ophion and shit like that. And then you have your Scout Planes, which can help me get into Gotchi faster, potentially, or give me more defense. However, keep gaining off of Soul Absorption, all that good shit. Monks are something I was testing in the main, and I ended up just putting them in the side, because if for some reason I need to get into the Angel of Zera right away in my game, I'll just monk into Rose Warrior and get into it that way. And then you have your third MST for against skill drain and shit like that, and Dark Hole is Dark Hole. Should probably be maining it I'm not really sure why I'm not. Anyway, I'll end up trying to fit it in, but yep, that's pretty much it. I wanted to keep this video as short as possible, but I ended up rambling on a lot longer than I had wished to, like always in my videos. So anyway, guys, this is JiminyCricket bringing you a deck profile that was highly requested off of TCGplayer and highly requested off of YouTube this morning. So, hope you all enjoyed it. Remember to like, favorite, subscribe, all that good shit. It helps me out, and stay tuned, everybody. Take it easy. Later.